Hello my friends. I think some of you may have listened to my video about Treacle Street, the days when it's so difficult just to pull yourself out of bed and it's like walking through treacle. It's so difficult to motivate yourself to do anything, you know, to shower, to brush one's teeth, to get dressed, just to do anything at all. And I've had to do it, you know, to go and see Alfie. I've had to make myself do it. And I have to admit that today has been a day I couldn't. I literally have not been able to do anything. And we can talk about depression. This is more than that. I don't know if any of you are acquainted with St John of the Cross and his Dark Night of the Soul poetry. But from what I know about the Dark Night of the Soul, I feel that that's something that I may be going through. Particularly as, again, my friends will know, over the past few years, but particularly the last 6 months, I've been quite heavily into meditating and communing with my soul, if you like. It's a philosopher a philosopher called Khalil Gibran, and he says, quote, "Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars." I think many of us would prefer not to be seared with scars. However, if the dark night of the soul is something that one has to go through, not everybody does. It's said that only those of endurance, people who meditate, who are contemplative, or who have sort of signed up for the journey, if you like, will be blessed, or some people may say stricken, with the experience of the dark night of the soul. It's a spiritual journey. I read again Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher. He says, quote, "I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses." I think the dark night of the soul is very different to depression or feeling melancholy. And they say that there's 7 altogether, signs that you may be experiencing that dark night. It's a feeling of deep, deep sadness, despair, really. You feel unworthy and worthless. You feel powerless over anything. You feel condemned to a life of pain where there's nothing at the end of it to warrant that. You can't find joy in anything that you once found joy in. People, places, or anything at all. And this final sentence I read, which I've experienced from a very, very young age, very young, and it was a feeling, I've always experienced it, this feeling of emptiness, of wanting something, and you don't know what that something is. You feel that there's something intangible that you've either lost or that you can't identify. And you don't feel at home anywhere. Part of that with me is because Alfie isn't here. It's a spiritual awakening, certainly, and it hurts. And I'm going to read you something now, and it's called Sweet Darkness by David White. Time to go into the dark where the night has eyes to recognise its own. There you can be sure that you are not beyond love. The dark will be your womb tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free. The world was made to be free. And give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn anything or anyone that does not bring you alive. It's too small for you. Unquote. I am going through this aloneness. I am going through this dark night of the soul. I don't quite know how to cope with it. It's just a very, very deep yearning for something unknowable, something intangible. It's a crisis. Not a crisis of faith, but a crisis nonetheless. So I don't know whether any of you have experienced what I'm experiencing right now. I'm going to recite some of the poem of John of the Cross, The Dark Night of the Soul. Once, in the dark of night, inflamed with love and yearning, I arose, O coming of delight, and went, as no one knows, when all my house lay long in deep repose. All in the night went right, down secret steps, disguised in other clothes, O coming of delight, in dark, when no one knows, when all my house lay long in sleep repose. And in the luck of night, in secret places where no other spied, I went without my sight, without light to guide, except the heart that lit me from inside. It guided me and shone, sure than noonday sunlight over me, and led me to the one whom only I could see, deep in a place where only we could be. O guiding dark of night, O dark of night more darling than the dawn, O night that can unite a lover and a loved one. Lover and loved one moved in unison. And on my flowering breast, which I had kept for him and him alone, he slept as I caressed and loved him for my own, breathing an air from redolent cedars blown. And from the castle wall the wind came down to winnow through his hair, bidding his fingers fall, searing my throat with air, and all my senses were suspended there. I stayed there to forget. There, on my lover, face to face I lay, all ended, and I let my cares all fall away, forgotten in the lilies on that day. Pray for me. Pray for Alfie. And pray for yourselves. Speak to you later, darlings.